Let us continue with reading of biography of Saint Tukaram. Yes, last reading we were just starting the abhangas of Saint Tukaram from the book by Vishnu Shastri Pandit, and I will continue from that point. Basically, we are reading the biography written by this great author, Vishnu Shastri Pandit, which was published long ago in the previous century. And the advantage is that the abhanga of Saint Tukaram himself, he has written his own life story in his own words. So that is a big advantage. So there is absolutely authentic account of the life of Saint Tukaram. So let me continue. Tukaram was one of three sons of Bolhoji. When Bolhoji became old, he wished to entrust the management of the family to his eldest son Savji, who however latter refused, as he was of a devotional turn of mind and he did not want to engage his attention in worldly concerns. Thereupon, Tukaram was initiated into the business from his 13th year, only 13th year, which he carried on well for some time. He had two wives, Rukmini and Jizai, the first of whom died in the 20th year of her husband's age. He also lost a son named Santu in the same year. He had already lost his parents and his elder brother's wife before this. The brother also leaving house on pilgrimage. The famine and consequent bankruptcy completed the cup of his earthly sorrow, which so disgusted him of all worldly pursuits that he gave them up and became a devotee of Vithoba at Dehu. He himself relates in Abhangas 1333 to 1335. That is a different nomenclature which belongs to a different book, not the book which I am using for translations. So the numbers are not going to match. You'll have to refer to this particular book to see the numbers, but the meaning he is now coming out with. The causes which led him originally to take this course in answer to a query on that point by his brother devotees. His account is as follows. So this is a very famous narration by Saint Tukaram. By caste a Shudra, I carried on trade. This god was the family god from the beginning. I ought not to speak on this matter, but have given respect to the words of you sages to answer the question you have asked. I became tormented by the extreme miseries of this life after the death of my parents. The famine exhausted all my money and made me honorless, and one wife of mine died crying for food. Shame overcame me. I lost my quiet by this sorrow, and I observed my trade bringing me loss. There was the dilapidated temple of God, which I chose to make my residence. At first, I began to perform Kirtana on the 11th, which is the Ekadashi, but in the beginning, my mind was not in study. I committed to memory some pieces of holy men with reverence and faith in them, took up the chorus when others sang before, with a pure heart and full of belief. I would take the water of the feet of holy men without allowing shame in any way to enter my mind. Did what good I could to others by toiling this body, paid no regard to the advice of friends and relations. I was disgusted of all worldly pursuits, made my own mind the witness of truth and untruth, and paid no attention to the opinion of the many, respected the initiation of the mantra, which is the sacred formula. Mantra means a sacred formula imparted to me by my teacher in the dream, and placed full belief in the efficacy of God's name. Tukaram Maharaj was blessed with this mantra in his dream. There was one guru whose name was Raghova Chaitanya. He came in his dream and he gave them the mantra Rama Krishna Hari. So there is an abhang satya guru raay कृपा मज केली परी नाही घडली सेवा काही सापडी बिले वाटे जाता गंगा स्नाना मस्तकी तो जाणा ठेविला कर भोजना मागती तूप पावशेर पडिला विसर स्वप्ना माझी काय कळे जणू अंतराय झाला म्हणून या काय कृपा झाली माघ शुद्ध दशमी पाहुली रविवार गुरुवार केला अंगीकार तुका म्हणे आणि मंत्र दिला रामकृष्ण हरी असं ते आहे. So this is, let us continue with this. This is what he is saying. In the dream, I got initiation of the mantra by my teacher in dream and placed full belief in the efficacy of God's name. After this came the poetic inspiration, and I held the feet of Vithoba firm in my heart. Then came on the stroke of prohibition to compose, which wounded my heart for some time. We know about the story. He was told that he is not authorized to compose poem because he didn't have any authority or knowledge and right to talk about Vedas. And that is why the punishment was given and his Gatha was drowned he was told to drown them in the river Indrayani, and they came up floating on water after 13 days on the 14th day morning, and that is how the world came to know that he was indeed a great soul blessed by God. And then everybody started appreciating, they started following, and even his enemies became his disciples. So if I were to, then he says, I threw the books of my verses into the river and sat in Dharne. Dharne is sitting by the side of the river. He was just sitting on a stone, like a strike, you can say a strike, or insisting on getting something, demanding something. So that's called a Dharne in God's temple. They are saying temple, but actually it was not in the temple. He was on the river bank or a stone, and that stone is still there in the temple in Dehu. If you were to go to Dehu, you can see that stone. And so, whereupon God appeased me. If I were to relate in extenso all the details, it would be very late. Therefore, enough of it. Now, what the present state is, ye see, God knows the future of the future. The merciful God no way neglects the believer. This I have come to know. So Tukaram Maharaj came to realize that God doesn't neglect anyone. That is a firm belief he came to get. And all my capital, says Tuka, consists in sayings, which is verses, which Panduranga has made me speak. He has always maintained that he is not the one who is speaking. The words which come out of his mouth are coming straight from Lord Panduranga. And you can definitely believe that, because the power of those words, the emotion in those words, the advice in those words is something which is very amazing. Amazing. He had not studied in a college or a school, but the wisdom which he has given is enough for the whole world to understand how one should live life, which is the most important contribution of Tukaram Maharaj to today's world. In today's world, he is very much relevant, because those who read Gatha will realize what we should do in the life and what we should not do in the life. And that will purify characters, that will change people, that will stop wars, and that will give people motivation to help each other, stop enmity, stop politics, stop cheating, stop fooling people. And that is going to be the biggest advantage of having Saint Tukaram available in English, Tukaram Abhang in English to the whole world. You can see this, the results will start coming very soon. Now, the next one in this particular biography is Abhanga 1334. So, let me continue to read 1334. O sages, hear this what I say. I am a fallen sinner. Why do you love me with such tenderness? My heart is witness to me that I am not redeemed. A person wears one thing and people think it to be another. I was extremely tormented by family affairs. I even became a drover of cattle, goading them on by twisting their tails. Here Tukaram Maharaj is saying that I was cruel, I was ruthless. I used to twist the tails of the bullocks. I used to torture them. You see so many people in the village, especially young boys, they don't have much empathy or sympathy for the animals. They hit them. If the animals don't obey, they hit them. They even poke them with very sharp, a stick which has a sharp nail at the end. So these things are very common in the village. Tukaram Maharaj is confessing that in his age, at that age, he also did the same thing. I even became a drover of cattle, goading them on by twisting their tails. When notwithstanding all this, I could not get sufficient for my wants. I took to the present course of life. Already my little treasure of money was over, so I did not give up wealth, distributing it to Brahmins or those who stood in need of it. He says, I didn't give anything in charity. I didn't have money to give in charity. That is not something which has given me any great blessing from God or anything. No charity, nothing. I was a very ordinary person. That is what he's saying in this particular line. And he says, I cut off connection with my wife, sons, brothers, and thereby necessarily made myself a stupid, mean wretch. I could not show my face to the people, and so withdrew myself to a corner or lived in the wilderness. This was the cause of my solitude. He is explaining why he went into solitude. I was vexed and hardened by the cravings of the belly, and therefore the feelings of compassion had no place in me. A hungry man, you cannot tell philosophy to a hungry man. Hunger is the biggest motivator for a man to do anything. A hungry man can do anything, he can make any crime. And in fact, now it seems in the Americas, the United States, the courts have given a ruling that if there is a hungry man and if he steals bread and eatables from a supermarket, they cannot sue him, they cannot catch him, they should just allow him to go and eat those things. There is power of hunger. Hunger can cause revolutions. I think the French Revolution was caused by hunger. So he says, Tukaram Maharaj says that I was an ordinary person, and the feeling of compassion had no place in me. For this reason, naturally, I said, when anybody called, my ancestors were, I said yes when anybody called. What he means here is that when anybody asked him, come, can you come for this kirtan or pravachan, or can you come for lunch to my house, he would immediately say yes, because the time was of a famine and food was very difficult to get. So he's saying that for this reason, naturally I said yes when anybody called. My ancestors were devotees, and therefore I worship this god Vitoba. Tuka says, for faith, let somebody take to this kind of life. And now we'll move to the third abhanga, that is 1335. The translation I'm reading. It was well, O God, that I became a bankrupt. It was well that famine afflicted me. In Marathi, this is Bare Zhale Deva Diwale Nighale. Bare Zhale Deva. So he is saying that everything that happened was good. All the calamities which were thrown upon him by God, he is telling God it was good. So the second line is, the deep sorrow which they produced kept in me the recollection of thee, and made worldly pursuits nauseating to me. He felt nauseating about the worldly pursuits. That's what he's saying. It was well, O God, that my wife was a vixen. It was well that I came to such a miserable plight among the people. It was well that I was dishonored in the world. It was well that I lost my money and cattle. It was well that I did not feel worldly shame. It was well that I surrendered myself to Thee, O God. It was well that I made Thy temple my abode, neglecting children and wife. It was well, says Tuka, I observed a fast on 11th on the Ekadashi and kept myself awake at night in the prayer. So in this abhanga, essentially he is thanking God that yes, the calamities brought me to you, and the calamities led to my spiritual progress, spiritual awakening. So they were necessary. Tukaram Maharaj is accepting that yes, these were instrumental, they were necessary, and so he's saying God to God, it was well. And if you remember from Mahabharata, Kunti also used to tell Lord Shri Krishna that I don't want happiness, Lord, give me sorrow, because if I keep on remaining in sorrow, I will keep remembering you. If you give me happiness, I might forget you, so I don't want happiness. So this is how the spiritual thinking goes. Now the above extract means these are three abhangas. The above extract gives in Tukaram's own words the unvarnished tale of the causes which led him to take the course of life, which was the foundation of all his future greatness and made him preeminently the teacher and benefactor of mankind. Very nice words this author has used. To these events made Tukaram Maharaj teacher and benefactor of mankind, which you will see in his abhanga. The guidance which he has given is for the entire mankind. It is not just for the Marathi people. Marathi people may form 1% of one world's population, and the 99% don't understand Marathi, but in order to get the Gatha to them, I was inspired in 2016 to start translating Gatha into English, and a friend of mine, Narayan Bandre from the Tukaram Maharaj temple in Pune on Ferguson Road, he insisted that I should translate the entire Gatha. I was resisting, I was saying no, I won't be able to do it. It is too much of work, it is too big, 4,500 verses. But he insisted that no, you should do it. Start, God will guide you. You are good at English, so you should not stop. Please do it. So he almost ordered me, and I was at the temple, and I realized that at the footstep of the temple, someone is telling me, he gave me the Gatha copy of the temple, which they use for Parayan, for the regular yearly chanting of Gatha. And he said, I am giving you the temple copy, it is your copy, you keep it with you, you use this copy and do the translations from this copy, go serially, start with Abhanga 1 and go up to Abhanga 4500. Okay, I said yes, that's so if that has to be done, it has to be done, and I started. I'm very happy to tell you that 2200 Abhanga have been translated by me so far, and that is half of the Gatha. Almost 50% work is over in 9 years. I have to finish the balance 50%, which I'm going to do in not in 9 years this time now. I want to do it in 1 year or maybe 2 max. Because I have increased my speed, now I'm doing nothing else. I'm only doing translations, fully concentrating on that. Because I think this explains what for. It is the providence. It's all providence. I would say that I'm not the doer. God is the doer. I'm only an instrument, because God guides people, God motivates people, God shows the way, and you get to think that you are the one who is doing it, but there is something else. From where did the thought come in my mind? The mind, the science of yoga and science of spirituality says that all the thoughts which come to your mind, they enter through the right ear. The thoughts are already there in the universe, and you are like a radio. You start receiving thoughts in accordance with the mindset that you have. So if you are a devotee, you start catching thoughts about devotion. If you are a drunkard, you start catching thoughts about alcohol, various different types of whiskeys and gin and rum and whatnot. So these the receiver brain is the receiver, the thought is in the universe. The thought came into my mind, so the universe seeded the thought in my mind. I held on to that thought. Then the universe seeded a thought in Mr. Narayan Bandre's mind that yes, you tell Mr. Phadnis that he has to translate the entire Abhanga Gatha. Otherwise, I was going to be happy translating only 50 or 100 Abhanga. But he insisted, so I have been doing this. And I will come back to the subject. So, the line which is very important, as I said, is the above extract gives in Tukaram's own words, the unvarnished tale of the causes which led him to take the course of life, which was the foundation of all his future greatness, and made him preeminently the teacher and benefactor of mankind. Verse 1334 also shows the strict censorship he held over his own heart and the severity with which he judged himself. He has said that his wife was a vixen, and he has given a complete picture of her and the reasons of her complaint with the kind of scolding he received at her hands in the following verses. So this is a verse about his wife. He has written about his wife because it is very well known that his wife was not happy with the way he was running his household, because he was not running his household, he was doing nothing for the household. He was only worshipping Lord Vithoba. That is how he was. That is how he was, and that is how he became great. Okay, so the verse is, it is in his copy, the copy which the author Pandit, Mr. Pandit referred to. He has given the number as 566. It will be different in different pothis, different copies of Gatha. So it says, it is only as far as I am concerned that he has renounced the world. Has he lost any of his own enjoyments? All comforts come home walking, but my disgrace cannot still be averted. It is his wife saying. He has written the verses as if his wife is talking. Whose housewife am I to become in order to keep the family a-going? How many miseries should I suffer in family matters? She is saying. What shall I give to children? Who will eat me up for hunger? It were well if they were all dead now. Wife is saying, will someone eat me up? Maybe better if somebody eats me up, because that much she was fed up of life. And it will be very well if they were all dead. She's saying, oh, the children, if they were dead, it will be very well. He allows nothing to remain in the house. She is talking about Saint Tukaram. He allows nothing to remain in the house. He has washed it clean of everything. There is not left even one head of cattle for dung to cow dung the house. What we call Shenane Ghar Saravane, that you make a solution with the cow dung, and you have to wipe the whole floor, even the walls which are made up of clay. And when you give a coating of cow dung, it has a very peculiar smell, a village smell, quite a very I would say nostalgic smell. It's not repelling, it's not foul, it's not bad, it's just good, I will say. And it has some holy properties. So then she says he allows nothing to remain in the house, not even one cattle. Abject wretch, says Tuka, she of herself thoughtlessly bears the burden on her head and then frets for its heaviness. So that is how Tukaram Maharaj said, that she bears the burden on her head and then frets for its heaviness. Then in 567, Abhanga, I do not know if this blockhead was my enemy in my previous life and has satisfied his revenge by becoming my husband in this life. That is the words in the mouth of his wife. How much? That is what she used to tell him. He is made abhanga, he is written what wife told him, what his wife was talking about him. How much misery am I to suffer all throughout? How often am I to open my mouth to others for help? Damn be Vithala. What good has he done to me or my family? She is saying, Vithala, no, he has not done any good for me or for my family. So Tuka says in that abhanga, such fits of passion the wife gets into, and she frets and lowly weeps, intermixed with some laugh also. Very pathetic account. She weeps, she laughs. We'll go to the next abhanga, 568. A sack of grain comes home, but he will not let children have bread out of it. We make bhakri, from jawari, we make jawar, we make bhakri, like a bread, that's a roti, like a roti, but it's called bhakri when you make it from jawar. No, instead of it, this stupid domestic thief will fill the baskets of strangers. His wife described him as a thief because the grain which came in the house, he would distribute it to the strangers who came to the house asking for grain, because there was a famine and nobody had food. People were dying. So Tukaram Maharaj, whatever he had in the house, he will give away. No, instead of it, this stupid domestic thief will fill the baskets of strangers. This shaft mad woman, says Tuka, seizes my hands when I give grain with fiendish violence. Violently she will hold hand of Tukaram Maharaj, and he will say, "O damned woman, sinful is the stock of thy past life, which leads thee to do so." That is the quarrel it used to happen. Famine is a very bad thing. Famine is a very, very bad thing. India has seen many famines in past. Lakhs of people have died for hunger. Death by hunger is the worst thing any human can suffer, and India suffered this many times. Now I'll go to the next abhanga, 569. What wilt thou eat, O child, now? My husband, which means thy father, has become a resident of the temple. He dresses his head and wears garlands of flowers and has given up all concern of his calling. Wife is describing to children that your father has given up all concern of calling. He is not caring for anybody. He is just wearing garland of flowers. He has made provision for his belly and cares nothing about us. With with tal is the one which you play the cymbals. With tal in hand, he opens his wide his mouth and sings in the temple before the god. What are we now to do? He would not even sit at home, but would go to the lonely forest, because Tukaram Maharaj used to go to the forest. Tuka says, so he has written all this in his own poems. Tuka says, have patience, all is not over yet. That is what Tukaram used to tell. Okay. 570, the next abhanga. It is all right that he is gone. In losing him, I get everything. I shall now eat my bellyful of bread, coarse though it be. How much had I to scold him, accursed that I am. Tuka's wife loves him, though she uses scornful words. Tukaram has said in this abhanga 570 that his wife loves him, though she uses scornful words. Because what would a lady do when she is starving? Children are starving, husband doesn't worry, husband doesn't bother. She was fully justified in the way she lived her life. And Tukaram Maharaj was very strong. His devotion to God. In today's days, if anybody's wife tells her husband, you're doing too much of God and too much of bhakti and too much of devotion and you're talking too much of spirituality, I'm sure the husband, because he wants to stay with his wife, he will say, yeah, I'm sorry, I'll stop talking spirituality, I'll stop talking about this, I'll stop talking, I'll only be a social animal. We are expected to be social animals, so when you go in the society, you are not expected to talk about spirituality, and that is, I think, something which needs to change. Time will tell, it will change. So let us continue a little bit more. All the 34 minutes are over. I think the subject, 2 more abhanga, we have to complete this part of the abhanga which he has written as if his wife is talking. So let us see. 571, abhanga 571. He cannot pursue any calling because he gets plenty to eat without exerting himself for it. Wife is saying, no sooner does he get up from his bed than he begins to strike his tar and makes with followers unbearable noise. So what is devotion to Tukaram Maharaj devas. And what is devotion to Lord Vithala is noise to his wife. Because that's what he does. When he gets up in the morning, starts with the tar and abhanga and singing and talking to God and bhajans. So that's what makes unbearable noise. All of them are as dead, though alive. They have swallowed up all sense of shame. Wife is saying they have swallowed up all sense of shame. They are as good as dead. They do not attend to their family's concerns and leave them to go to dogs. All the devotees of Tukaram Maharaj were cursed, criticized by wife of Tukaram Maharaj, and she is saying they do not attend to the family's concerns and leave them to go to dogs. Their wretched wives feel the pangs of misery and take up stones to crush themselves to death with imprecations on their husbands. It is all right, says Tuka. In the abhanga, the last line always has says Tuka. In the last line says Tuka, it is all right. Receive what is written in thy destiny. So in his destiny was written, the wife will talk like that, and he accepted it. He didn't complain to God, oh, why you have given me such a wife who is talking like this. He continued with his devotion. Now coming to the last abhanga in this particular context, 572, what for do people come to our house? Have they not their own business to attend to? The wife is asking Tukaram Maharaj, what for do people come to our house? Have they not their own business to attend to? Says Tuka, on account of God, the whole world has become related to me. What is lost by gentle words? So he's asking the wife, why don't you use some gentle words? People who would not condescend to come, even if most respectfully entreated, visit me for love. This damned woman cannot relish what she ought to regard as an ornament. She goes after people as a mad curse. So Tukaram Maharaj felt and realized, and that was the right thing. They came to the house of Tukaram Maharaj for whatever reason. Some came for devotion and his disciples. Some came begging for food, begging for grain. And in the opinion of Tukaram Maharaj, she could have regarded this as an ornament, because those people, such people who would not condescend to come, even if most respectfully entreated, they are visiting for love. They loved Tukaram Maharaj. But the lady, this damned woman, he says, cannot relish what she thought or she ought to regard as an ornament. She goes after people as a mad curse. So this is the situation in their household. Tukaram's devotion converted. Now we are coming to the reading of the text written by Vishnu Shastri Pandit. Tukaram's devotion converted in some degree the heart of even such a wife. He did manage to convert her somewhat. When he began to avoid home through disgust, she entreated him not to do so, promising to conduct herself according to his desire. The following collection contains 11 verses, which are 1981 to 91, in which he has explained to her the nothingness of all worldly happiness in comparison with the eternal happiness of heaven, and counseled her not to covet the riches of this world and be perfectly resigned and engage herself in the service of God. Beautiful. After so much quarrel, a time came when the wife was ready to listen to Tukaram Maharaj, realizing that what he is saying makes sense. And there are these 10 abhanga, 11 abhanga, 1981 to 1991 in that particular pothi, which are the Upadesha of Tukaram Maharaj to his wife. In my opinion, any person, whether it may be a husband or a wife, in today's world, if your husband or your wife is excessively attached to material wealth, especially wealth, because if someone is too much chasing money, the partner can alert that person by reading out these 11 abhanga. I think we should be able to do this, and that will come in part 3. Today we were listening to part 2. I will stop here today and we will come again on next Sunday, I hope. And today we are at page 21 from this book. Let us stop here. Thank you for listening to me. I will try to see if I can see any comments, but I'm not very familiar with this. There is somebody who is saying, how are you? Then there is something in a different language. I'm not able to understand those languages, but there is hi, there is yes. Then Sunita Bhosekar, my sister-in-law, she is also there online. So thank you for being online, and this video is going to be there on YouTube live on my channel, Deepak Phadnis. Please read, or please see part 1 and catch up with part 1. And this was part 2. We will next week, next Sunday, we will have part 3. Not tomorrow, next Sunday, part 3. And we will complete this. After this, we will switch on to another biography, which is in Marathi, and I think I have another one in English also, but I could read that also. The idea is try to know at least the life of the great man Tukaram Maharaj, the great Saint Tukaram Maharaj. He transcended from an ordinary man to the level of an enlightened saint, and his transition, his transformation was indeed miraculous and a stupendous achievement by any standards. And the end, how his life ended, it's a great event, and the whole world is in awe of that event, because the legend goes that a kirtan was in progress on the in Dehu, on the bank of the river Indrayani. And when the kirtan was in progress, it was afternoon time, I think about 11 o'clock, and suddenly came a huge sandstorm and nothing was visible. And after the sandstorm subsided, Tukaram Maharaj was not in the place of kirtan, he had vanished. And his disciples have written poems, and they are swearing by in their poems that Lord Vishnu sent the Garuda Vahana, and on the Garuda Vahana, Tukaram Maharaj ascended and left for Vaikuntha Gaman, and he is the only saint who has left this earth with his whole body. And that is something which the whole world knows. People get awed, and our love for Tukaram Maharaj has really given us so many nice teachings, feelings. And when we love someone, the very fact that you are in love with someone makes you feel happy, makes you feel protected, because when you love someone, it automatically happens that that other person also loves you, maybe equally or maybe even more than you love him. So if I say I love Tukaram Maharaj, Tukaram Maharaj gives me more love than what I can give to Maharaj. So if I say I'm loving, I love Tukaram Maharaj, I'm getting 100 times love from Tukaram Maharaj. So with that blessing of Tukaram Maharaj, I go to you all, and I also go to Lord Vithala, or go to Lord Tukaram Maharaj, and we will meet again. Thank you for being with me. See you. Bye bye.